Nah, I mean, I grew up a little different. Not really on basketball like that. So, nah, not really. But I mean, it'd be cool. I go to every game with the same approach, going in to try to get a win, and that's pretty much it.
Just another game, just another player. Stephen A., you know what it is, all business. Should LeBron care about those comments from LaMelo?
A little bit. And what I mean by that is that, you know, you the king, right? And so there's a level of deference and respect that is earned. You've been to the finals 10 times. You've won 4 championships. You're a 4-time league MVP, clearly aiming for and looking for your 5th. And some young buck that just comes into the league is like playing you just like playing anybody else. You understand? Now, I don't think for one second LaMelo meant any disrespect. I mean, we know who Pops is. You understand what I'm saying? And you know what? You know, my man Champ talks about this all the time. Your man, you know, your father's your father. You know, you're a good man. You're a father. He clearly raised his kids right. He's been the subject of a lot of criticism over the last couple of years.
They play the game the right way.
Let me tell you something. They play the game the right way. If you look at how Lonzo, first of all, Lonzo has been playing better, and LaMelo has sparked him. Lonzo's more aggressive. He's shooting more from the field. He's shooting more from three-point range. He's averaging more than 14 points a game this season. Props to Lonzo and how he's become more assertive. I think that has a lot to do with LaMelo Ball because he's saying little brother ain't coming into this league, taking the league by storm. And by the way, let me be very, very clear. Michael Jordan has a Rookie of the Year. It is LaMelo Ball. Yeah, LaMelo Ball will win Rookie of the Year. I know he'll get my vote. I can tell you that much. The kid
even in the running with him?
Exactly. The kid has been absolutely sensational. I love what I'm seeing from the kid, and I love his assertiveness. And I remember talking to somebody in Charlotte the other day, or a few weeks ago rather, and they said he really can't shoot. But he don't know that. And he going to shoot it, and damn it, it's going in. So give LaMelo props.
They all got broken shots, but they go in.
But they go in. Where I say LeBron should take this, he should be a little turned off about this. There's a level of deference and respect that you are supposed to be to somebody perceived to be the king, who, by the way, is the king right now. He's the reigning defending NBA champion. And when you are a rookie and you come into the league, I remember when Jerry Stackhouse came into the league and was talking about how he went up against Michael Jordan in the warm-ups and all of this other stuff and held his own. Michael Jordan saw him and dropped 48. You understand? Just like that. You know, just to remind the young fella, there's levels to this. Mind your manners, show respect. And I love my man Jerry Stackhouse, but I'm just saying, that to me is what I mean by LeBron. LeBron should treat this like that as well.
I knew you were going to bring up Jordan.
You know what I'm saying?
I knew you were going to bring up Jordan. The fact is, I was going to, if you didn't anyway. LeBron ain't MJ. They got different mentalities. Both great champions, everything, different mentalities.
Right.
If it was Michael Jordan, someone said it about Jordan, he would, you cut to like a shot of the game in midway through the second quarter, Stephen A., and he would be eating LaMelo's heart out of his chest while it was still beating, like he was in the Temple of Doom, like Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom. That's like Jordan's mentality. That's not LeBron. And I don't think LeBron should read into this one at all. First of all, I don't think LeBron needs the motivation. He can tell me I'm wrong. I don't think he needs the motivation. Secondly, I don't think LaMelo's lying. I think LaMelo Ball, when he says he looks up to his dad, his dad taught him the game, I think he's telling the truth. Let's not forget, given LaMelo's age and how long LeBron's been in the league, by the time LaMelo has continuous memory, right? From the time he can remember, LeBron James has been a superstar in the NBA. LeBron is like a dinosaur from a previous age. When I was a kid, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, when I was a little kid, was the best player in basketball. But I still didn't feel like he belonged to that era. He belonged to a previous era. He was just still dominating. So I think guys coming up today are more familiar with, a guy coming up today is more familiar with Steph Curry or even more recently like Donovan Mitchell or something than LeBron James, right?
Max, I don't buy that. I don't buy that because LeBron's playing right now.
Yeah, but
he's retired.
Yes, but
he's playing right now and he's the reigning defending champion.
Just like Kareem was. But it was almost like it belonged to another time. It was just unstoppable still. But beyond that, I don't get the sense that LaMelo idolizes LeBron like that. He said he idolizes his dad's game, right? And his dad. I believe that. Now, you could say, well, if it was Jordan, damn it, by the end of that game, he'd know Jordan is his daddy, right? That's just not LeBron's mentality. All LeBron's really thinking about is leading his team.
You
to
can say that.
wins.
Well, first of all, my man T-Mac reminded me of this. We can't forget about that brother Anthony Edwards in Minnesota, who has been. Oh, he's nice.
That looks like that pick's turning out okay.
The Wayne Wade caliber.
I did forget.
I forgot too. I can't forget Anthony Edwards. We can't forget him. But LaMelo Ball's winning.
I didn't know Edwards should be
LaMelo
the
Ball
number
is
one
winning,
pick, but,
and ever since he's been in the starting lineup, ever since he was inserted in the starting lineup, LaMelo's averaging 20 a game.
Yep.
But to get back to LeBron, what I'm saying is this. LeBron is balling right now at an MVP caliber level. He's already a 4-time champion. He's in the discussion in a lot of people's eyes as the greatest ever. We say Jordan. Obviously, there's some young whippersnappers out there that believe it's LeBron. And this dude, LaMelo Ball, comes out, whatever. Really?
he's worried about himself.
No, I'm just saying. I'm not knocking him. I'm saying if you're LeBron, I get on the court with you tonight.
Yeah.
Excuse
LeBron
me?
might be dunking on him at least one time.
You don't know who the hell I am? Let me remind you.
They don't guard
That's what you do.
LaMelo ain't guarding LeBron.
I'm just saying. You just put him on notice. Then you watch. You watch your teammates try to guard me. You watch sitting on the bench try to guard me. We're in the same arena. Do you know who I am now? Do you remember who the hell I am now? I happen to be the reigning, defending NBA champion, a league MVP
Not
candidate
a dad,
still.
Max.
Mind your
Not
manners.
just a guy.
I'm not
To
just a
use your
guy.
word.
I'm not
That's
just a
to
guy.
LaMelo.
No.
I believe LaMelo.
That's what you, LeBron, that's what you do. That's what you do.
Does LaMelo belong in the top 3 of this list?
Hell no. And I love LaMelo. And he would have been my rookie of the year had he not gotten hurt. I think this kid is a future star in this league. I love LaMelo Ball. But see, this is stuff like this that diminishes the credibility of ESPN. Okay? This is the list. This is our list, right? Am I correct about this? I believe it's our list. Yes, it is. Let me tell you something right now.
ESPN.com.
What the hell? I mean, ESPN needs to drug test anybody that has something to do with this list. Makes no sense. Devin Booker is not LaMelo Ball before Devin Booker? Really? LaMelo Ball before Donovan Mitchell? Really? LaMelo Ball before Jason Tatum? Really? I mean, what the hell is going on? Okay? I believe that ESPN should call security right now and go to whoever put this list together on ESPN.com. Line them up, and test every one of them. Every one of them. Somebody's out of it. Somebody's out of it. I mean, you got to be kidding me. This don't make any sense right here. I just gave you a little. Now we can go down the list. We can go down the list with a few guys. But I'm just saying. I just gave you Ben Simmons. I understand the brother doesn't shoot the ball, but what else doesn't he do? Have you seen this man play defense? Ben Simmons is a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. Ben Simmons is 6'10", can handle the rock, can pass, has a very, very high basketball IQ, can finish at the basket, is incredibly athletic, can run the show. I mean, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about? So I'm just saying top 3. LaMelo Ball can play. I believe in this kid. Happy for Michael Jordan and the Charlotte Hornets for drafting him. I believe in him. I believe this dude is going to be an all-star sooner than later, a perennial all-star. The kid's got swag. He's got game. He was my rookie of the year before he got hurt. I get all of that. But to sit up there and put him number 3, ahead of Donovan Mitchell, ahead of Devin Booker, ahead of Jason Tatum, just to name it, ahead of Ben Simmons. I mean, come on. Come on. People need to get tested. I work for ESPN, all right? I've been here for the better part of the last 17, 18 years. I have nothing to do with this list. Nothing. I disassociate myself from these people. Whoever the hell put that list together. Whoever, that has nothing to do with me. Go ahead, Max.
Put together a hell of a list. Very good list. It's an excellent list. I don't agree with it exactly. I probably also would have Devin Booker 3rd or 4th, along with Donovan Mitchell. But Stephen A., at the very top of the article, it explicitly states that this is about future value. This is about value going forward. So here's the big difference between LaMelo and, let's start with what LaMelo can do. He's a potential future MVP. He can do it all. Now, when you look at the list, Luka Doncic and Ben Simmons are the only passers on LaMelo's level on the entire list. Unlike, however, Ben Simmons, LaMelo can shoot it. Meaning he and Luka are kind of in a category by themselves in terms of the genius level passers who can also hit shots from the outside. But here's where LaMelo really differentiates himself, separates himself. He's like 5 years younger than the other guys we're talking about. Donovan Mitchell's 24. Devin Booker's 24. Ben Simmons is 24. I'm with you. Right now, obviously, they're better. They're 5 years older than him. His future value in the next 5 years, and by the way, these dudes weren't as good as LaMelo at 19. In fact, very few players who have ever lived have been as good as LaMelo at the age of 19. And then you ask yourself, can you build a team around him that could maybe win a championship? Does he look like that kind of player? Yup. Does he have swagger, confidence, right? Is he the kind of guy, a team will follow? Yup. Can you see him winning an MVP in the future? Yup, check, check, check. And in terms of an offensive player, what weakness does he really even have? No, he's not 6'10" like Ben Simmons. He's 6'6". He's a genius level passer who's 6'6", balling at the age of 19 as few ever has, and he can hit shots from the outside. No, would I have him 3? I'm with, especially Devin Booker. I don't see LaMelo putting up, show me where you can score 60 points in a game, right? Because Devin Booker can do that. Show me where you can dominate a playoff game like Donovan Mitchell.
He scored 70 in the game against Boston.
Devin Booker is like, it's indecent what he can do. But I'm just saying, he hasn't proven that yet. He hasn't shown he can dominate in the playoffs like Donovan Mitchell. So I'm with you there. I probably have him like 5th. But I could see why he's top 3 based on his age alone.
Max Kellerman, I hear where you're coming from. And originally, upon seeing the list, it's like 25 and under, okay? Their game, where you'd rank them, et cetera, et cetera. I get your point, upon reading it, where you're talking about future potential. But I still maintain my position, Max Kellerman. Because let me tell you something right now. Let's go further in the list. How do we not have Devin Booker in the top 5?
I don't know.
How do we not have him in the top?
He's getting better and better.
Have you heard anyone on the air rave about De'Aaron Fox more than me? De'Aaron Fox is in Sacramento. Almost no one raves about him but me, because I saw him give it to Lonzo in the NCAA tournament, and I religiously bring up how that's the lone argument, legitimate argument, Magic Johnson and I have ever had, because I was like, don't draft Lonzo, draft De'Aaron Fox. That's the dude you want. I love De'Aaron Fox. He's at 6. He's ahead of Devin Booker too. I mean, come on, man. You just look at certain things and you're like,
Chill.
What are y'all talking about? What are y'all talking about? So it's not just about LaMelo. It's several things that are questionable on this list. All right, and I'm only playing. They know I'm only playing when I'm talking about them getting drug tested and all of that stuff. That's just a figure of speech. I'm just messing with those guys. They do a great job. But damn it, I'm getting concerned because of the injuries. Yes, I think that, first of all, major props to James Harden, because, when he's injured, he's injured. This is not a dude that loves to miss games. He doesn't miss many games. That's just not what he does. But I think that when you look at the Brooklyn Nets, my only concern about the Brooklyn Nets is primarily themselves. Now, obviously, that comes with the attachment that if you're worried about them imploding, then obviously you have to look at teams like the Milwaukee Bucks and Philadelphia 76ers and an outside chance with the Miami Heat and take it a little bit more seriously. Because I'm still wondering, as I said weeks ago, what the hell is taking, KD and AD so long to get back? Certainly, the playoffs are the priority. What happens in June and July, it's what it's all about. We all understand that. But in the same breath, you just look at this team in terms of chemistry, cohesiveness, and what have you, and you kind of wonder when these guys are going to come back and play some games. And 1 minute you hear that he's on his way back and he could be ready to go. Another time you don't see that at all. And then Kyrie Irving, for all his greatness, and make no mistake, it's pure greatness. It's pure greatness and box office, and he put on an absolute show last night. The flip side to it is that when are you going to take, when's the next time he's just going to want to take off? How many personal days is he going to use, et cetera, et cetera. You wonder about this stuff. Meanwhile, teams like Milwaukee are saying, hey, listen, we coming. Well, we don't believe it's a foregone conclusion that Brooklyn is coming out of the East. The Philadelphia 76ers with Joel Embiid coming back. We'll see what's going to happen in that regard. And so I just think that it's worth paying attention to in that regard. Not necessarily the competition itself, but the fact that the Nets seem to have this attitude, we can turn it on and off when we want to. The truly great teams can, for the most part, but you never know when a potential hiccup may occur. It's not about the other teams, it's about them. And I wonder about it sometimes, to be quite honest with you.
I have the exact opposite reaction after last night's game. The Knicks were feeling good about themselves. They had a nice lead at the half. The Nets down two of their two best players, because Kyrie is great, and he's not only the best show in basketball, he's elevating to near MVP caliber play now. And yet, if you had to rank them on the Nets, you'd say KD 1, Harden 2, Kyrie 3. So they're missing their best two players, really, after Harden had to leave. And the Knicks are feeling good, and the Nets aren't playing defense. The Knicks put up 60-something points, it was close to 70 points in the first half. And then just like that, Stephen A., they turned it on. Kyrie turned it on. The Nets turned on the defense better than it was certainly in the first half. And they win. The Knicks, as we know, they're a solid team. They're not world beaters, but they're a solid team. They play with pride. They play defense. Nothing they could do. The Nets won. And by the way, the Nets have the best record in the Eastern Conference, and KD basically hasn't played all year. And Harden just got there. It's not like they had an offseason to all play together. This team is so good, it's scary. Now, certainly, KD's prolonged absence and the fact that he's coming off an Achilles and all that, yes, injury is a concern. What I'm saying is this. If the Nets are healthy, I'm at the point where I don't think anyone else can win the championship this year if they're healthy, and I think that includes the Lakers. If the Nets are healthy, because now I've seen the Nets down, I've seen each star, we know KD can carry a team. I've seen Harden do it by himself, beat some good teams by himself. And now I've seen Kyrie beat a solid team with a big lead at the half when he was the only star on the floor. They can all carry a team. And the three of them together, I keep saying it, let me be very clear. If and when this team ever gets healthy, by the end of this season, meaning playoffs and everything, we will say that was the greatest offensive team in the history of American team sports. They will win the title. It's just an issue of health.
Well, I appreciate you coming to the party, because that certainly wasn't your position at the start of the season, but that's neither here nor there. What I will tell you is this. When I look at when you saw him play, you still had that for the first month or two of the season. But here's the deal. You didn't think they would play defense good enough. That was your position. But that's fair enough. Bottom line is this. Right. Here's what you look at when you look at the Brooklyn Nets. Again, they are showstoppers, bona fide showstoppers. These brothers are real and on another level. But when we look at the great teams in the NBA, the reigning defending champion Lakers, and we think about the Milwaukee Bucks and adding Drew Holiday and those boys there, okay? And P.J. Tucker's a big pickup for them because of what he can do on the defensive end of the floor, okay? You look at the Philadelphia 76ers, they're coming, they're not going away. When you look at Denver, I shouldn't say all of these other teams because there's only one that's getting to come out of the West, okay? You don't have to face all of those teams in the West, just one of them. All I'm saying is this attitude that we can just turn it on and off while other teams are building chemistry, I think could potentially be a mistake. Now, where it gets interesting is that the Lakers obviously have the same issue for very legitimate reasons, because Anthony Davis is injured and LeBron James is injured. So they're not, but they already had a season together in which they won a championship. So the chemistry and cohesiveness is there. Plus, we have to look at Brooklyn, Max, and we got to ask ourselves, we love what we're seeing. Kyrie Irving is averaging 28 a game, 51% shooting, 39+ percentage from three-point range. He's only averaging 2 turnovers a game. I mean, when you look at it from that perspective, he's been nothing short of sensational, and he deserves props for that, and he's been selfless, not selfish at all, very selfless. James Harden, we say the same thing about him. Kevin Durant, we know that about him. But you also have to find yourself wondering, that when all else fails, because of that absence of chemistry from not having played together but so much, are they going to do that if pressurized moments show up? Those are legitimate questions to ask is all I'm saying.
Fine, but I'm just saying the evidence that I've seen before leads me to the opposite conclusion. Like in the opposite direction. Like they have chemistry because, as you said, Kyrie's been totally unselfish and so is Harden. We know KD's an unselfish player. But Harden and Kyrie, can they do it? They're showing the pursuit of greatness is what is most important to them. And you only get that as with your team. You have to have team greatness. And Stephen A., James Harden rolls out of bed, as I said, shows up in Brooklyn looking like a hot mess, fat and out of shape, and gives the league that work. Took them on a West Coast trip, beat the best teams in the Western Conference 5-0 on that trip by himself. And then Kyrie and Harden